Hey, I made a video not long ago on pendulums, the concept of the pendulum, which isn't Neville. It's a concept brought up by Vadim Zealand in reality transurfing, and it's an interesting concept to me because the second I read about it, I realized, at least for me, what it is. My understanding of it may not quite encapsulate the entirety of it, but it immediately made sense and I was able to apply it. I could see immediately how a large percentage of my energy was going towards one pendulum or another. And basically, in my understanding, my interpretation, a pendulum is basically anything that you direct your energy at and you don't really get anything in return. It's basically just something that eats energy. And, on a grander scale, it's something that lots of people are feeding their energy to and aren't getting anything of value in return from. And this is just my interpretation of it. When you come down to it, I think after, diving into all of this as a lifestyle or whatever, when this starts to comprise the majority of, your aim in life, and by this I mean learning to control your thoughts and direct your own reality via your self-concept, there's almost nothing that is worth your thought energy other than you, at least until your self-concept is improved to the point where you're nearly impeccable. So, like coronavirus is a huge pendulum. Everyone in the world just about began thinking about it and focusing on it and talking about it. And that was optional. You can, and I'm not a horrible offender here. I think I mentioned I did get into it because of my penchant for like post-apocalyptic movies and books and stuff, and I just couldn't resist. But I'll come back to this later about the effects I think removing your energy from the pendulum have, at least for me personally, an example. But I pretty much walked through that without, and came out unscathed on the other side. And I think that most of us spend a lot of our time directing energy at personal drama type pendulums, issues that you have with another person, something that happened, just these day-to-day things where your thought energy lingers and goes at this thing, this event or this interaction or this person. I've talked about Steve a lot. Steve was a person, is a person, but he was also a big pendulum for me because I spent a lot of time worrying about him and what was going to happen and all of that. I had a lot of anxiety about it. And once again, it comes back to you. It comes back to you and your self-concept. I can't find a way that this isn't always coming back to that. It's the answer to every single thing. Why do you give your thought energy to a pendulum? Like, my relationship with Steve was a pendulum. It wasn't just a relationship with a person. It was an idea and a reflection and something bringing things up for me. Like, my thoughts went there. I worried about it. Why? Because of an inner problem with me, because some aspect of me as a person was triggered, some part of me that needed to be examined, beliefs that I had were activated, and so all my energy went there until I could figure it out. And so it's interesting to me how I think this also applies, maybe even more so, to these global pendulums. these global things that come up, like riots and everything that's happening right now. I still don't see how it doesn't come back to you. Whether or not we are all creating this outer world together is kind of irrelevant to you, because I've noticed a funny thing since I was kind of blessed with having this one area of my life that I don't have a whole lot of issues with. I've noticed that it's like the world can start crashing and burning, and I'm just walking through the center of it. Like I have on some fire-resistant spacesuit or something with coronavirus. So many people were impacted negatively financially, and I was too, in the form of, my stock portfolio tanking along with everybody else's. But my business, it's interesting to me what happened. It makes sense. Of course, things always make sense on a down here on earth level. I can explain to you why this happened. My business, essentially the demand for my business, the things that I sell, doubled. And people were willing to pay twice as much for them, which effectively means that up till now, I have to work half as hard and I'm making twice as much money. Why me? Why is that the effect that this had on me? I don't give almost any energy to the scarcity pendulum when it comes to money. Like, I just don't. It doesn't go there. I don't think about it. I expect different things. This is my explanation. Other people who aren't into reality transurfing, Neville Goddard, would probably just go, oh, well, you're lucky. You're in the right business. You got lucky. But like, why? Why? Why is it that over and over again, I am completely unaffected by everything in this one area? And then you look at, so my big issues: money, health, relationships, right? You look at the money thing. Okay, like I'm nearly pristine in that area mentally. The body thing, I've obviously gotten that under control because I've been able to mold the outside, at least. But when I look at, how this worldwide stuff affected, like coronavirus affected me there, it kind of reflected where I'm at with that, mentally, where I'm at with that. Like, I'm cleaning out the attic when it comes to physical stuff and all my issues with that. I've been really focused on that for like a long time. And if I'm 90% there with money, I'm 50% there with my body, let's say. And so I did experience negative, unpleasant side effects due to coronavirus. I gained weight. I felt a lot of anxiety about the changes in my lifestyle with regards to food and my body and my ability to go to the gym and stuff, right? But it could have been much, much worse. Like, it was limited because I think my mental space there is under control, but not great yet. And then when you look at how it affected my relationships, which is, probably if I'm at 50% of the way there with my body, I'm probably at 30% of the way there with my relationships. What's come out of that for me has not been great. I mean, it's been probably necessary, but my relationship with my ex is the worst it's ever been. I mean, I'm hoping that this is going to get better, but it affected that negatively. I had to exit the relationship with Steve. And the point I'm trying to make with this is that the outer world, I think, reflects back to you in a very unexplainable way what your orientation to it is. So by removing your thoughts from these pendulums, focusing them on yourself only. I mean, I honestly think that almost any thought directed outward, when you're not already fixed, is just a waste. It's not, it's spending money instead of investing money, if that makes sense. So, great, I'm great in this one area, and I'm walking through this, outer reality that I'm pretty convinced I didn't create. At least I didn't create it alone. I don't know. That part doesn't interest me. Whether or not I created this outer reality doesn't, this global reality doesn't interest me. It's how it's reflected back these things to me. I'm completely unscathed in the money area, more or less. I'm pretty much unscathed in the body area. I'm pretty scathed in the relationship area, and I'm just less scathed than I would have been. It's clear to me that some things have changed, but that I've got a ways to go. And so I guess I just wanted to talk about this because I think a lot of people that are out there right now experiencing what we're all experiencing, I think the best thing for most of us is to turn the attention inward. Tune out of what's happening. Withdraw your energy from the things that are distracting you from the only direction of your energy that really matters, which is the direction towards yourself, to put the pieces together of your self-concept till it's to the point where you walk through this world unaffected. And when I talk about being unaffected by money, I'm still talking about being unaffected, like, I'm unaffected in that my finances have improved. But, the end game, I think, for all of this is to walk through life unscathed regardless, to be unaffected by the outer. Where you are on your journey to that is where you are. And I am still very much rooted right here in the world, learning to, how this whole thing works in the physical world. But yeah, I think there's a lot of people wondering what the hell to do right now. And my advice to you would be, withdraw your attention. Don't think about coronavirus. Don't think about what's happening in the world right now. Only think about you and where you are on the journey to wherever you're trying to go with who you are as a person and how you feel about this whole experience as a person. That is a totally valid response to what is happening in the world. I had to completely tune out of American politics in 2018 because I was losing sleep over it. I just realized, this is eating my attention and it's eating my energy in my life. And there are few things that I can do outwardly to have any impact. I can vote and I can try to embody the ideals of, what I value. And that's it. That's all you can ever really do as one person. And I can tell you this, when I shut out the media and shut out any news about politics, any of that stuff, coronavirus was literally the first time I was looking at news sites in 2 years. All of my energy came back to me, and what happened, like, I did 6 months worth of dental work and focused all my attention on my own identity and my own progress, and lost 75 pounds and, sort of got on with my life from my old relationship with my, when you take your energy back from this stuff, like there's so much there to do something with. And, you know, I'm in a better position now than I was at the beginning of 2018 by far to do any good in the world, to do any good, you know, since it comes from me, this person that was still in a really kind of bad place at the beginning of 2018 wasn't doing anyone any favors by sitting around watching what again at the time seemed like the world getting ready to crash and burn. You know, that person wasn't offering up too much, and it was just eating all of my energy. And so that's what I wanted to say about this right now. You know, I need to make another video about this because I really want to talk about how how changing self affects these pendulums. It causes so many things that are just like wildly out of control to just lose all of their energy and come to a standstill. It's really amazing. But yeah, anyway, I hope that you are feeling peaceful today, and that, you know, if you are directly affected by the issues that are coming up right now, you know, I don't know if anybody wants to hear this from me because I'm not exactly in the demographic that, you know, is affected by these things, but I don't think it's any different for anyone. I think the energy directed inward is always where you get the best payoff. And if everybody would do this, you know, we would be living in a utopia in 6 months. So I don't know, but at the same time, you know, I really empathize.